I am on Patreon, and Patreon is a platform where I will upload interesting videos where you can learn astrology. Connect with me on Patreon. Much more deep insights on Vedic astrology and lot more secrets will be shared there. Hello Seekers, welcome to Hiranyahasta, a Punneits astrology initiative. I want to talk about a very unique planetary alignment, and this when happens whether in transit or in your birth chart. This is going to create relationship challenges, and if you have it, I want you to write your experience in 2 or 3 lines. You don't need to reveal your identity or your partner's identity, but just a experience so that everybody gets to know that yes, there is a common underlying theme. Obviously the results and the characters may change, but the storyline, the pattern, the format remains the same. And if this arrangement is present, this creates a lot of conflict. In astrology, there is something called as Shadashtak Yoga. What is Shadashtak? Shad and Ashtak, the 6-8 formation. If two planets are 6th and 8th from each other, they are called in Shadashtak. Say, for example, say Mars is in Aries and Moon is in Virgo. So Mars is in Aries, that is number 1. Moon is in Virgo, that is number 6. That means if you want to reach from Mars to the Moon, you need to go to the 6th zodiac sign, so 6 places. And to reach from Moon to Mars, 12 minus 6 is 8. That means you travel 8 places. In such counting, you always take the placement of the planet as the first position. So it's not that because Mars is in Aries, you start counting from Taurus. No, you start counting from Aries itself. Similarly, for Moon, you will start counting from Virgo. So what are the 8 zodiacs? If you want to reach from Moon to Mars, you will go from Virgo 1, Libra 2nd, Scorpio 3rd, Sagittarius 4th, Capricorn 5th, Aquarius 6th, Pisces 7th, and then Aries 8th. So while you land up in the 8th position, you see Mars. This is called Shadashtak Yoga. But we will talk about every combination in Shadashtak, but I want to start this series with Venus and Jupiter in Shadashtak. That means, say in the same example, Venus is in, say, Aries and Jupiter is in Virgo. Venus is in Aries, Jupiter is in Scorpio, or vice versa, Jupiter is in Aries and Venus is in Virgo, Venus is in Scorpio. Then this is called Shadashtak Yoga. Say Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but Venus is in Aquarius. Then this is Shadashtak, because from Jupiter to Venus, you have 8 houses of a gap. So this Shadashtak is very, very crucial in determining the relationship angle of your life. So if you are into any relationship, or if you are suffering from a bad relationship or some problems in your current existing relationship or marriage, or if you have been divorced, one of the criteria can be Shadashtak Yoga present in your birth chart, or go and figure out the date of marriage and see if there was a Shadashtak Yoga on that particular date and there was no counter to that Shadashtak Yoga on the day of marriage. Well, the day of marriage one is a very weak, you can say, energy, but still it exists, it can interfere. Shadashtak is famous for creating conflicting scenario and conflicting situation. Whenever two planets are in Shadashtak, they are enemy of each other. 6th house is called Aribhava. That means house of enemies, debts and challenges. 8th house is called Mrityu Bhava or Ayushya Bhava. That means any longevity of anything, and destruction, secrecy and secret challenges is seen from the 8th house. So this is what the two energy holds. The 6th house is holding inimical energy and 8th house holds secretive energy. So when two planets are 6 and 8 from each other, for them, the other planet is either an enemy or is very secretive. Both of these conditions are bad in case of marriage. Also, when you are doing a horoscope match, these two planets can be seen in Shadashtak in synastry. How to check that? You can watch my video on Patreon where I will be explaining that in horoscope matching how to calculate and how to see the Shadashtak and its effect. So Patreon subscription is open. You can take the Patreon subscription and that supports me also. And if you want to take my consultations, you can visit my website www.hiranyahasta.com, or for any consultation queries, you can drop me an email. The email ID is right in front. Also, if you want to book a Kundali PDF report, now we have different varieties. Say you want a mini consultation, mini report, that is available. If you want a detailed explanation of your horoscope with all your characteristics, predictions about Rudraksha, gemstones, and in detail about your character, then that is also available as a different option. If you want all Doshas remedy report, where we will create a concise, precise report where the Kundali doshas like Manglik dosha, Sadesati, and any other dosha is mentioned and what are the remedial suggestions for that, that is also available. For that, the links are in the description box below. So do check that out. That is a very brilliant system generated reports that can cater to your needs and can always be with you, acting as a guide. Now coming back to the Shadashtak Yoga. Shadashtak formation creates a lot of difficulty and challenges in one's life because, say, Jupiter is in Aries and Venus is in Scorpio. So for Jupiter, 8th house from that planet is house of death. So Venus becomes a death for Jupiter. And for Venus, Jupiter is in the enemy. Because 6th house represents enemy, if you keep Venus as a human being, he is observing Jupiter as the enemy. Now why relationship? Because, well, Jupiter and Venus both are the karaka of finances, wealth, happy life, prosperity, and marital bliss. Venus represents love, luxury. Venus represents relationship. Jupiter, on the other hand, is responsible for converting an informal arrangement into a formal marriage. It creates lifelong fulfillment. It makes you meet your soulmate. Jupiter, without Jupiter's blessing, nobody can marry. Jupiter is the dharma, whereas Venus is the prema. So when dharma and prem becomes an enemy to each other, then what happens? Say you love someone, you want to get married, but you will not be able to. Unfulfilled relationship, incomplete relationship. You are going to see a lot of point of view differences. If it is present in your own chart, in your relationship with anybody, or during marriage, you will see a lot of challenges. And I have seen this happening in many of my consultations, that Jupiter and Venus, when they are in Shadashtak Yoga, they create a lot of challenges. Now Jupiter represents your prosperity. Venus represents your bliss and enjoyment from prosperity. So you have a lot of money, but you don't enjoy that. This can also happen because of Jupiter and Venus in Shadashtaka. You are getting a lot of trouble in relationship, breakups are happening, you are unable to marry someone, and even after marriage you are unable to keep up the pace. You don't know why your desires are not met, why your expectations are not met. There can be a Jupiter and Venus in Shadashtaka. Also, planet 8th from another planet goes into the blind spot. So say Venus finds Jupiter in the 8th house from itself. Venus is in Aries, Jupiter is in Scorpio. What happens? For Venus, Jupiter don't exist. So for love, dharma don't exist. It can create cheating. It can create challenges where you are not willing to marry, or if you marry, somebody else will create a trouble. I am talking on a very general sense. Your other planets may change the equation, but the underlying current is the same. When Jupiter is in the blind spot, the dharma vanishes. On the flip side, if there is Jupiter and Venus is in the 8th, Jupiter is in Aries, Venus is in Scorpio. I am taking Aries Scorpio as a simplistic example here. Jupiter is in Aries, Venus is in Scorpio, Venus goes into the blind spot of Jupiter. It shows that you give your everything and still you cannot generate love. The love dies. It's like you are trying to lit a candle in a storm. Every time you try to lit, the candle lights up and there's a wind and a blast of rain that extinguishes the fire. And then you have to repeat the process again and again and again. This is what happens in Shadashtaka. You become your partner's enemy.